All right. Another week behind us. It was awesome. It was a great week, and now we are going to do it all again, huh? So, there's the April low, right there. Completed the first scan window, the second, and the third into the 0.5. Usually, after 3 windows up, 9 times out of 10, the next window is down. Okay, how low remains to be seen, but there's plenty of targets. That doesn't mean that it's going to be a straight line drop. I don't think so, at least. But I did want to show you guys something, right? So, where's June 1st? All right, there we go. So, you can see on this chart pretty well what I mean. Monday, June 1st was the June low. Okay? Right there. That was the June low. July, first trading day of July, was the low for July. August 1st was the low of August. So, we should know by Tuesday or Wednesday, we should know, right? If the first trading day of the month here, if the pattern is going to continue. All right, we should know. As long as that Tuesday low holds, we should close higher. So first thing we're going to do is put an alert right there. Okay. Then we know, right? Plus we got this level and we got a bunch of MAs here, and we got the Bollinger Band crossing that level. So there's a good chance that the same pattern plays true, right? I would suspect that your range is gonna be that low and probably 65.50 until OPEX. Now this OPEX is the big one, okay? It's the quarterly OPEX coming up. So from now on, expect the market to make no sense. Now, the Nasdaq clearly shows that you get a mid-month ripper and a sell-off, and you can either choose to long that low or wait for premiums to decay, with the point being that you want to long this October low into December. And I'm going to be doing a lot of that on different names, buying time and just letting them absolutely juice over time, because it doesn't go up in a straight line. We have another seasonality that kind of shows the same thing, the S&P 500, right? See it here with a decline. Then once we've had a top here, we're going to start figuring out how low it's going to go. IWM seasonality showcases the same. Okay, the only one that is different, it's the sports calendar that says that if the top is not in this week, could be the last chance, and then a significant decline starts. So how I'm gonna play this is there's gonna be a little bit more swing trading than perhaps you're used to, or day trading. So what I'm looking at, if we get a substantial high here, because there's 2 things that can happen, right? I'm gonna move to SPY. We still have not hit. We came really close, but our phantom is right up here. Okay, so we're gonna mark that. That's where the phantom is. Then we have a couple more phantoms. You can look at them in the ghost candle tab. But yeah, they go way high up, right? That's why I think we're gonna get some pullback after a possible top this week. There's too much geopolitical tension. Maybe we even get the thing back, all these tariff negotiations, and tariff trade 3.0, which is gonna have to do with these tech companies and the EU fines, okay? So again, pullbacks are buying opportunities until we give up that low, okay? There's plenty of levels we already have marked below that could be bounce spots, but yeah, just this would be serious because this would breach the Bollinger Band, the FOMC line. But what are we looking for early next week? Okay, well, we're up here. You lose the 9. This is probably, if we don't sell into Monday's open, gonna come up more. You're looking for a breach of this. It's by the dip until you cross this point of control, the red line. At that point, very, very likely that you feel this half moon. And I would personally, for the next 2 weeks, this week and next week, we gotta worry about, and then further out of course, but like you can buy the dips if this low holds, okay? Now you might, sell down to here and not go feel the whole volume shelf, chop a little bit, come up and back test, and then at some point undercut that a little bit, and then absolutely rip up because there's gonna be no resistance. Meaning, why won't there be any resistance? Because once you sell through this, you eat up all these orders here. They're not there anymore, so bouncing back over is gonna be easy, right? But again, what did we say? We said, hey, well, first of all, congrats on all the insane trades, because I mean, all the SPY trades for me went over 1,000%. Tesla went 708, Evgo went 900 and something. Then there was Rocket Labs and plenty, right? So I said, if we gap over that Bollinger Band on ES, it's not gonna stay there. It's gonna sell, and it sold, held support and bounced, right? And then it went sideways, just like it did the Friday prior to that. Remember, here's Friday, sold, went sideways, sold, went sideways. So everybody and their mom is waiting to buy this dip. So the question is, are they going to be, because sometimes that's the best tactic to do the obvious, right? Because people are going to be like, no way. So what we're looking for is a gap down. If it's not a gap, even if it starts going up here, and I'm betting on a small fake out, obviously, be very weary before to start loading any longs, either until the squeeze has gone through it all, or the 1 hour stow at minimum needs to have bottomed out, right? And on a bigger time frame, you really want the 4 hour to at least. I marked the mid on my here, that mid channel, and this in case it wants to just go halfway, because we did hold the daily or the 4 hour 21. So this next 4 hour candle, this was an inside one. This next one should breach either the top or that's going to be a range, right? All right. Bitcoin over the weekend, just coming down here, still holding big because it broke out. We're waiting to see if this was the retest and hold, or if it still needs one down here which I would assume, but that works too because I obviously caught hood with some of you. And let's go over that in a little bit. But if the market starts selling, it is notable that JPM will come down hard. Okay, it will definitely. There was like not even a whiff of a bounce here. It actually slow bled on Friday. So this is still overall my favorite short. Okay, because once this starts selling, guys, that's a huge move. It spent so much time building in a floor here for that not to happen. So I am going to put an alert right there. Okay, I might even put one underneath just to like, no dude, you really need to short this shit. This is obviously a bounce area, and then here's one. This would be the last chance it has. Okay, so if you want to be really safe, you could wait. That's if the market sells, right? I would expect a lot of rotation into the OPEX. I think OPEX is going to be here on the 19th, and then you got holiday. That holiday trade is absolutely great every year. Buy here, sell there, you know what I mean. Okay. This closed under the daily 9. This closed above. This has a very interesting, actually bullish setup if that 9 can cross to the upside. And obviously closed over the 21. Even ES managed to close over the 21. So in a trend, and this is obviously good to look at. We have determined what is the magnet level. It's the point of control, right? There's the Powell candle. This level works as support, resistance, magnet, but it's good to, the 21 will show you the trend. It's very easy to read. The 200 is the magnet for the price. So if it gets too far away from the 200, at some point the 21 will come and have to retest it, and you can play this move down, and the price usually will do a fake breakdown, and that's when they buy it and then back up again. So we're looking at the exactly same setup here. Look guys, curling down, we had the sell, a little bit of a bounce, maybe even chop Monday, Tuesday, maybe at some point some bad news, wait for that drop, long it a few days out, in the money and out of the money. Why? Well, the reason I play it that way is at some point you have to start taking profit, but you want to fight off the FOMO. So you want to have multiple options to keep you calm and collected. Okay, it's all about risk management, and it's all about calculated risks. Okay, right? So for instance, let's say we buy a dip, price rips. What do? You sell these guys, the out of the money ones. They're way more volatile than something in the money with more time. Okay, for instance, here we closed, I took those 20-cent contracts, boom, insane gains, right? On a gap up, and I think over here we had another gap up, same thing. Or that day this was during market hours when we were just grinding up, right? And we did 480% on those SPY calls. So this week the patterns are early low, early low, early high, early high, early low. So for Monday we have a early low. Okay, so how do we approach it? Well, if it's strong, it should have a high in the final hour, right? If it's weak, more weakness to follow. Okay, so let's say if we just keep chopping around here, do know that any bounce in this market needs a drop. We had that, right? Remember, we caught that on Wednesday. That was insane, right? And then the market chugged, and then Friday it came back and tested that level, right? That's why we have an alert there. Okay, it's all level to level trading here. Okay, we got full moon tomorrow on Sunday. My fractal that I keep following, I posted in the full moon circle. It has a drop coming, but it's a buyable dip around Tuesday. Okay, and this should, and according to all the fractals I started with, you should have a high, because OPEX week in September is gonna suck ass. Okay, so we're gonna try to catch that move. But besides that, besides the suckage, there's a lot of landmines that, especially if you're new, look, I trade a lot of SPX. SPX, if you're new, is like juggling with nitroglycerin, you know, in glass tubes. So usually I do all my SPX trades live on VoiceRight, or if I feel really confident about it and I want it to sit all day, I'll post it in the chat, right? But if you're new, I recommend you get used to premiums, because that's all it's about, is premiums. That's why I read out premiums all day when I'm on, you know, the voice channel. It's all about premiums. Premiums told me to buy calls here. Premiums told me to hold all day, right? Premiums told me to swing this overnight. Okay, Trendline told me we're not gonna stay here all day, and down we came, right? And premiums told me to play this move. So pay attention and listen, right? But these videos are great to mark out your levels and all of that. Okay, also don't trade unless you're locked in. This is some of the hardest markets to trade right now. There's a lot of opportunity due to the volatility that just came back. Okay, but that's why we keep an eye on everything, right? Not a bad idea to size down either if you don't feel confident. And again, the reason I take those out of the money bets is I can risk way less money. Okay, it's all about the goals you have in mind and how you want to approach it, right? So again, this kind of indicates chop on Monday too. Been watching this VIX 1D. Usually when it comes up here to these levels, it'll give us a move, right? And they're playing a lot with volatility. That's why a lot of traders are having a hard time right now, because they can't understand how, for instance, Spike and Rally and Nvidia is not moving anywhere. They've done this with all the big tech names, right? Earnings comes, they don't even touch it. They let everything decay into the next big options expiration date. Same thing with Microsoft. Again, nothing's changed at all since here. They're just letting all these big boys burn the contracts. What does that indicate? That indicates that end of year you're gonna have a massive rally. And it's good if they decay them, but we don't, the bottom doesn't fall out, right? Okay? Because then you can go way more. And again, guys, we caught where QQQ is going by them messing up last week. It's in the ghost candle tab. Go look at it so you know. Okay? Now, excuse me. Another week of Meta, honestly not doing much. It had that nice move up and then it just stayed there. Probably not going to touch it too much. Nvidia getting close. I mean, I've clearly marked that level for whatever reason. Came down there, put in a hammer candle. Soon might not be a bad idea with the daily stow already down there and price holding this well to start taking some long swing starters. Okay, they're gonna need fridges. Okay, just saying. The biggest problem this company has is the tariff or the trade deal hasn't been made. So yes, this is a American company, but it's not, right? Avgo, where did we sell Avgo? We sold Avgo right there. If you are up over 900% and it pierces the Bollinger Band at open and you don't take profit, then you're a schmuckaroon. And then you will now learn, and next time don't make the same mistake, or at least try not to. Plus, you had a move up. That was the earnings move. Okay, and then you moved up that much with everything maxed out. I'm glad that was the first thing I sold, right? There's gonna be more war. This shows it. Usually when a stock comes up like this, it'll reject. It's already done it. I caught that move. I think Double J played this. At some point this is going to absolutely rip. Washington DC is not going to let their darling sit down here for too much longer, and I would not be surprised if it goes all the way up here and then up here. It makes a cup. Okay, things are heating up, whether it's South America, the Middle East, you name it. Same old shit, right? Bill keeps talking about this. It's not a bad idea at all. Cup, pull back to the half point. Candle is probably going to send this to 20 at some point. So keep an eye on it. This was one of the YOLOs I took, but nailed it on Hood. So proud owner of In the Money, 99 calls from here somewhere for next week. Okay. Am I going to take profit? Yeah. Am I then going to buy this at some point? Yeah. Why? Because it's got the same chart as Palantir had before Palantir went to the Mega Moon. Okay. There's your cup, pull back handle. This is gonna print now. Why? Because funds are gonna have to buy it, and it's a great company. Okay. Carvana Riolo that didn't get in. Where's app? Obviously in app as well. Let's see what it does. All right, so these BABA premiums, I pointed them out to you guys here, and I thought it sounded a little crazy to take 149s, but now I'm looking at this shit and the premiums told me to do it. Ever since I got in, it's up pretty substantially. So let's see, you know, again, super low risk with far out the money contracts on that. Tesla, we took 700 and whatever. And again, why did I take the overnight? Well, I took the 347s, which they hit here, but then they ripped it even higher just to screw with people. So I got extra gains. I took them because when we were here, the premiums told me that we're gonna go here. Okay. Same thing that happened with UPST. Remember, I said, oh, this is going to 69, but I figured it was just gonna do it next week, but it did it this week. Okay. I'll be trading all the same names. I'll be looking here now that we've pierced the daily on Microsoft, maybe a couple more days, and then I'm probably, if it keeps holding this range, gonna load some longs. I'm in some QQQ in the money and SPY the same in the money for September 19th, and I took those just to monitor what they do with the premiums, and also to see if because I don't know when that QQQ ghost is happening, and I'm not gonna miss it. Okay, I'm gonna be chasing it for the rest of the year. The crazy part here is that we had 4 days of buying. The crazy part here is that we had 4 days of buying, major sell pressure on Friday, but the MOC was still a buy. So it wasn't as big of a buy, but it was nevertheless a buy. So you got buying for crazy amounts, and it was a 4-day weekend. They bought like 10 billion altogether, a little bit more, which far surpasses these weeks, right? So something for us to monitor. The NAMO, surprisingly, completely unchanged. If they save this here, this is the most important thing in the whole market right now. If they save this cross down and this bounces, it is going to bounce really big. That is why, setup wise, to screw everybody that know nothing about anything of this, the best would be to put in the high for September next week into next Friday, because everybody's gonna think that the move's FOMC, right? So let's game plan this a little bit. Monday comes around, as you see, a complete shit day, nothing. So unless there's news driving us, you got nothing besides maybe this to give us a move. Okay, that usually doesn't give a big move. So don't be holding on, or don't be leaving gains in the market if you have anything that's green. We might see what's moving, what the rotation does. They play a lot with rotation. Tuesday, look, non-farm payrolls annual revision. Okay? Huge ordeal. You think they're gonna revise it up? Because last time they did that, the market hated it. So let's like literally do a small straddle into this and bank on either side, and then wait. This might be the dip we're looking for, especially if Monday's chop. This is after open. This would be perfect to just dump this, right? Because then PPI. Now follow me here. Last time these came out, everybody was like, oh shit. But what happened? Let's go back here to what I was pointing out to you early. There. Okay. The month still went up. So that's with a atrociously, like, super shit. We're talking like super ass. Okay. Super ass. So they are like, dude, if they can come in and say that shit is lower than last time, which they're trying to, the market's gonna rip. And why would it be such a good spot? Well, especially if that is just like atrociously bad. Okay, then Thursday, you get ECB rate decision and you have CPI. Now, dude, the way they count these CPIs is absolutely ridiculous in the number one country in the world. Okay, it is. You can't make it up. They literally call people and ask, supposedly 80,000, and if no one answers, they can put down the answer that they got the last time. Okay, so this is just straight You're telling me there's a burger element to this? So yeah, why not, have it be the same or reap the market higher? Possible, at least. And then Friday, Michigan consumer sentiment. So, the following weeks, Monday is going to be OPEX week, right? Monday, nothing will go over this more in detail when we know what the whole narrative is, right? But you got retail sales, you're going to have all the good stuff that leads then into FOMC. Now, everybody and their grandmothers are expecting a cut, and I think we get one. If it's 0.25, the market is literally going to laugh at it, okay? It's more about the forward-looking guidance. But do know that anytime we have cut, okay? Anytime we've cut, the market does start pulling back after. Possible for it to be a top as well, right into OPEX, but it depends on where we are. But that is going to be a very, very important week. All of September is going to be very, very interesting this year. It's a very important month. It's all going to set up the end of the year plays, okay? So, what do we know? Well, we're estimating and guesstimating here, but it looks to me like the range is probably going to be 552 down to, let's say, 635 for the next coming week. I'll keep you updated when I see stuff changing, because it always does. And then you got to roll with it. This is a complete chop area, and you see that's your fake breakdown area. But again, we're gonna keep an eye on that low, and that is exactly 635. So a very interesting setup going into the week. Be careful, have fun, hope you make a lot of money. I'll be on, but I wanted to say they're telling us we're gonna be hit with a hurricane either Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. So if the internet goes out, it goes out. It'll be back on when it's back on, and at that point I will probably just monitor stuff on my phone and put stop losses on and this and that, but we should be fine. God bless, and I'll see you on the moon train.